What if I told you that the end of the world, the obliteration of billions, wasn't born from an ideology of hate? What if I told you the apocalyptic thunder of the rumbling was, in fact, the final, desperate echo of a single, unanswered question? That the greatest atrocity in human history was ignited not by a monster's ambition, but by a young man's broken heart. Today, we're not just talking about Eren Yeager the monster. We're going beyond the rumbling. We're going to uncover the love story he never got to tell.
We all saw the end. We saw the cold, determined eyes of a man who had accepted the mantle of a devil to save his people. The Eren Yeager of the final act was a force of nature, a terrifying, unstoppable god of destruction. It's easy, almost comforting, to look at that and see a purely political or ideological motivation. The rage of a caged people finally lashing out, the ultimate pursuit of freedom. But what if that's not the whole story? What if the key to understanding the rumbling lies not on the battlefield, but in a quiet, freezing night in Marley? I want to take you back to one of the most pivotal and heartbreaking moments in the entire saga. A moment defined by a simple 5-word question from Eren to Mikasa. What am I to you? The central argument of this video is that the answer to this question and the tragic, unfulfilled love story it represents was one of the final, crucial catalysts that locked Eren onto his path of destruction. We're going to ask the uncomfortable question: did a missed moment of love truly set the apocalypse in motion?
Let's start with that moment. For me, this is where the path of the devil truly began. Put yourself in Eren's shoes. At this point, he has already kissed Historia's hand. He has been flooded with memories of the past, present, and a horrifying, predetermined future. He has seen what he is going to do. He has seen the rumbling. He has seen himself become the monster. His question, "What am I to you?" isn't just a clumsy teenage romantic inquiry. Let's be honest here. It's a lifeline. It's a desperate last-ditch attempt to find an escape route from the hellish future he has already witnessed. He's not just asking for her feelings, he's testing fate. He's looking for a different answer, a different path, a reason to believe that the future isn't set in stone. He's implicitly asking, is there a future for us? A future where I don't have to do that? And Mikasa, in her sincerity, her purity, and her deep, unwavering care for him, gives him the most honest, yet most tragic answer possible. You are family.
It's a beautiful sentiment, but it was the wrong answer. In that moment, Eren wasn't looking for a sister. He was looking for an anchor, a lover, a reason to abandon his global crusade and run away. Family puts him right back in the box of being her protector, the one who has to carry the burden for everyone. It solidifies his duty. It unintentionally confirms that there is no personal escape for him. And as he watches her walk away, you can almost see the final door to an alternative future slam shut in his mind. The path of the rumbling just became a little more inevitable. This brings us to one of Eren's most cruel and confusing actions, his treatment of the red scarf. This scarf is everything. It's the first tangible symbol of his bond with Mikasa. It represents the moment he saved her, the moment he told her to fight, the moment their lives became inextricably linked. She wears it constantly as a symbol of her devotion. So why, in their final brutal confrontation, does he attack it? Why does he tell her, "I've always hated you"? Because he understood that to walk his path, he had to sever the one bond that could ever hold him back. What I find fascinating and utterly tragic is that his cruelty here isn't an act of hate. It's a twisted, weaponized act of love. He knows what he is about to become. He knows the world will despise him, and he needs her to despise him too, so that she can be free of him, so she can be the one to eventually stop him.
He attacks the very core of her love by framing it not as a choice, but as a biological imperative. the Ackerman instinct to protect a host. He takes her deepest, most genuine feeling and reduces it to a form of slavery. It's a lie, a monstrous, calculated lie designed to inflict the maximum amount of pain. Why? To push her away, to force her to let go of him so that when the time comes, she won't hesitate. He has to destroy her image of him so she can survive his self-destruction. He's not just destroying the world, he has to destroy their past too. But the masks we wear, even the monstrous ones, eventually crack. And for Eren, that crack revealed everything. I want to talk about his final conversation with Armin in the Paths. This, for me, is the most important scene for understanding the man behind the monster. The facade of the cold, calculated ideologue is gone. The weight of his sins is crushing him. And when Armin pushes him on his motivations, when he asks about Mikasa, the truth finally erupts. Eren breaks down. The god of destruction becomes a pathetic, crying teenager. He confesses he doesn't want Mikasa to find happiness with someone else. He screams it, raw and unfiltered. I don't want that. Mikasa finding another man? I want her to think about me and no one else for the rest of my life. Even after I die, I want to be at the front of her mind for a while. 10 years at least.
Let's just sit with that for a second. This is the truth. It's ugly, it's possessive, it's incredibly selfish, and it is devastatingly human. Beneath the layers of trauma, destiny, and ideology was a boy in love. A boy who was about to sacrifice himself and the world, partly because he could never have the one thing he truly wanted: a simple, happy life with the girl he loved. His actions weren't just for Parady's freedom. They were intertwined with the profound personal tragedy of a love that was never realized. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Are we romanticizing a genocidal maniac? Are we really pinning the apocalypse on a teenage love story? And to be fair, that's a valid point. The argument that Eren's primary motivation was always larger than Mikasa is a strong one. His rage was seeded the day his mother was eaten. His obsession with freedom was born from a life spent inside walls. His course was arguably set the moment he accessed the Founder's power. To say his love for Mikasa was the only reason for the rumbling would be a massive oversimplification.
But I'm not arguing it was the only reason. I'm arguing it was the final, devastating piece of the puzzle. It was the emotional core of his tragedy. His other motivations were grand, ideological, almost abstract. But his love for Mikasa? That was real, personal, and tangible. It represented the life he could have had, the happiness he had to personally sacrifice. And when the path to that life was closed off, first by destiny and then by a simple, misunderstood answer, it made the path of destruction the only one left. The love story didn't create the path, but it removed the last exit. And this really brings us to a much bigger, more uncomfortable philosophical question, one that extends far beyond the world of Titans. To what degree can our private, personal tragedies shape public, collective destinies? Are the great movers of history, the leaders, the revolutionaries, the destroyers, truly driven by the grand ideals they proclaim? Or are they, more often than not, simply acting out their own heartbreaks, their own traumas, their own unfulfilled desires on a global stage? Eren Yeager's story suggests the latter. It suggests that behind the most world-altering decisions, you might just find a broken heart. So I want to ask you to think about that. Look at history, or even at your own life. How many of the biggest choices were ultimately driven by a quiet, personal pain? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you believe we are driven more by our grand ideals or by the silent whispers of our hearts?
In the end, Eren Yeager is a paradox.
He is a savior and a mass murderer. He is a slave to destiny and a champion of freedom. He's a monster and he's a boy in love. The rumbling is the legacy he left for the world, a scar so deep it would never fully heal. But perhaps his truest legacy, the one that defines the human being beneath the Titan, is the love story he never got to tell. The story of a boy who saw the end of the world and asked the girl he loved for a reason to stop it. Which leaves us with one final, haunting question. If, on that cold night in Marley, Mikasa had understood the true weight of his question and answered, "Eren, I love you," would the world have been saved? Or would that have been the start of an entirely different tragedy?